Hey guys, Josh and Alicia here of Herp and Harbins. We are competing this year in the 15 Minutes of Lame. Tonight we have Shane Kelley from Small Town Xotics, and he is going to give us some insight on how his marketing has changed and his project strategy has changed over the years. So let's welcome Shane Kelley.
Yes.
Hey Shane.
What's
Shane,
up, guys?
2020 winner, the OG winner of 15 Minutes of Lame.
Yes, the very first season, the first class, man. Yeah, that was one of my proud accomplishments for sure.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And what's funny is you're like only 15 minutes down the road from here, but it would have made all the videos not match. So we had to do a StreamYard thing so you look like all the other interviewees.
We gotta keep it matchy.
Yeah,
keep it matchy. Yeah. All right, let's go back in time and just kind of tell us like how Small Town Xotics got started. Like, how did you get started in reptiles? When did that all kind of happen?
Well, like many of us, a lifelong lover of reptiles since I was a little kid, catching all the wild stuff and all that in California. And then my early 20s, I was like a Noah's Ark keeper for 3 or 4 years, where I had like one of like 30 different kinds of species.
Yeah.
And then some stuff happened in my life. And then, I don't know, about 15 years later, I was working out of town. I was traveling a lot for work, and I knew I was coming home, and I was like, you know what? I want a snake. And then I just like Googled, and then like there was a genetic stripe, and I was like, man, I remember when those came out and they were so expensive. And I was like, $175. I'm going to buy it. And then like all of a sudden I have racks and I'm breeding snakes. It happened that fast.
I think that's happened to all of us. You see that one thing, like, I like this. Oh, there's more.
And it's a consistent thing. Once you buy the rack to put the one in, then you got to fill the rack up.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you're wasting space. It's wasteful to not fill the rack up.
And fun fact, I still have that genetic stripe female. I don't think she'll go anywhere. She'll just hang out here.
So. That's cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool. When was that? Like, how long ago did you snatch her up?
That was 2019.
Okay.
So I like escalated everything pretty fast. So it was pretty much 30 snakes in 30 days for like 2 months.
Wow.
Like I got 60 snakes in. So like I went through all the stuff about like getting snakes that hadn't even shed out of their first skin.
Dang.
Had mites shipped in, like I did all the things like all in those first couple months. And I was like,
just check that.
It's all downhill from here.
You started with ball pythons. When did you get the hog noses?
I got hog nose in 2019 as well. I just most of my acquaintances and friends in the hobby were ball python people, and I don't know, most ball python people have tunnel vision. So I was kind of doing just a handful of hogs just in the background, and So I've had hogs since the beginning too. The key difference was ball pythons I did buy proven breeders right away to start breeding. Where hognose, I just bought babies and I like grew them up and then I paired them and all that. So
whole different process. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So compare your current focus with those initial intentions back compared to like your Noah's Ark days. What ticked you over from going from from hobby to business?
It was Man, a big part of that was actually Miguel from Always Evolving Pythons. And then like I was like getting in and building right before COVID hit. So like I was like in that sweet spot where like those proven breeders were like producing like right when COVID hit and like the craze was going on. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to build an empire. And
Yeah.
And a money factory.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, that was my thought process then. I've since like backed off of that though. Like I still want to keep it fun. So I try not to get too focused on the money side. There is a financial side to this, of course, but that was a big part of my focus for a while. And it made it not fun, where I lost my passion there for like 6 months. And me, I know everyone's different, but I can't only be ball pythons. So like, I love my hognose. I got to have hognose. And then like, I have a few boas too. I've always had like, I have to have a little bit of something else going on too.
I get it. I think it gives you kind of like you get a little kind of blah in this one area and you can go focusing on this area because they're all a little different. And it adds a little bit of different spark in different areas and keeps your interest growing. So that
it gives you perspective too, like just how a hognose behaves, where you got to brumate them, once a year versus a ball python that'll basically breed all year long. So,
right. And like me and the boys, my two younger sons, we also did leopard geckos for a while too. Yep. So that was like, they had legs. It was like they eat insects. It was like totally out of the box,
It's a whole different party there. They eat a lot more, more frequently.
But you know what? Through leopard geckos, I learned a lot about polygenics and line breeding and stuff. So then now I have that knowledge for the hognose. I understand it a lot better because when I first got into hognose, I was asking about the red lines and stuff, and nobody could ever give me an answer. Like, if I breed a red to something that isn't red, do I get reds or not? Well, sometimes you kind of do, and sometimes you can. I'm like, what does this even mean? It's a yes or no.
When you started in the beginning in your marketing plan, how and when did that change, or did it? I mean, was your marketing plan always like, bam, what we see, or how did you progress through that?
Yeah, I started that right away. So like, I started YouTube. Wow. And Instagram, and mind you, like I had zero experience with that in my personal life. I had a Facebook, that was it, a personal Facebook page before Small Town, and like I started that right away. And then like I was kind of lagging on YouTube, but like when I'm saying I was slow dragging or whatever, it was like a couple months, and then it was Miguel again was like, no, start it now, so you get it all down pat, and then when you're producing, people actually know who you are. And that was like one of the best pieces of advice like I got in the beginning.
So he mentored you in that area as far as like marketing strategy right out the gate. Because I mean, you don't hear that a lot from people about starting things like YouTubes and pushing Instagram, but it would have been a lot easier to push that instead of like when all this is happening. But that does make a lot of sense. That's pretty cool.
So that was kind of like the theme of my YouTube channel then was like me, like I bought a rack, how to assemble, like the whole process of what I was doing, like the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that went along with it. I just put it out there on YouTube. And then coincidentally, like there was the timing thing, like that was COVID by the time like my YouTube really got rolling. So it was just like, I know COVID was bad for some people in other areas, but for me on the YouTube side, it was great, man, because everyone was home watching YouTube. So
your timing just lined up right with everything that you were wanting to do anyway. So that's pretty cool. You've progressed into Patreon. What pushed you into that avenue?
That was something I was thinking about off and on for a couple years. And then my friend Steven was the one that was like, you got to do it. You got to do it too. And I was like, all right, Steven, I'll do it. So then once I decided to do it, I was like, all right, I'm going to take like a month or two and I'm really going to think it through. And I'm going to have my little cartoon guy do cartoon graphics for all the different little sizes. And I wanted it to be right, But it was something I was thinking about doing for a while, but I have a busy personal life. So like, it was just one of those things on the back burner for a long time, so. But Patreon is probably my favorite because of like basically like the censorship. Like there is none. Like you could.
That's true.
Yeah. Like you could share. Anyone could share whatever they want in the chats, and I could put whatever content I want on the actual Patreon page, and it's so versatile now with all like. Because back in the day when I first looked at it, it was pretty much just pictures. And like you could post links to videos and stuff, but now you can just download the videos, audio files like a podcast. It plays in the car. It's
like
way
all
better.
in one spot. I like that we can just get on there and kind of go through everybody's stuff. And
we've thought about building one just to archive all of our audio, video stuff because, like you said, algorithms are always changing. I think it just came out. Instagram's not going to let you search with hashtags coming up. Like, so they're always going to be changing it. I don't know why, but we have no control over that. Sounds like what you're saying, Patreon, you have a lot more control.
Yeah, I believe you. I wouldn't see Patreon going anywhere. But like, like the Facebooks, the Instagrams, and the YouTubes, we're always at their mercy because at any time they could have some policy change, like from a higher up somewhere, and it changes everything for us. And
That is
we're just left in the dust or whatever,
Well, any of those free platforms, we're the product.
We are,
so
exactly.
they're farming us.
Yeah, they ultimately are. Where do you see shows as in your marketing situation?
That is something. So like, I did it kind of backwards. So I was only online.
Yeah.
And then I never vended a show until I moved to Tennessee. And then it was just 1 or 2 a year. And then now I'm actually like ramping up to go more shows, So just for the networking
around you in Tennessee.
You got good neighbors.
Yeah. Well, when there's good people to vend with, it makes it better.
It truly does. Like Dad used to go around with like an entourage. He'd take like 3 or 4 vendors that he knew, they were good friends.
Like a little block.
They would all travel together and set up a block, and it was nice. If you need to run to the bathroom, you could say, "Hey, watch my table." And somebody comes, step in. Like it's nice to have good neighbors at these shows.
Kind of becomes like a little family network too, like where you kind of hang out together and go to dinner together and all that kind of stuff. And so I think that's, I don't know, I like the networking part of the shows, and part of that is a marketing strategy, but that's definitely a different avenue compared to online.
Yeah, I do think these animals are difficult to capture a true color in photos versus seeing in person.
Yeah, like the lavender hognoses. I didn't understand them until I seen them in person. And then I was like, oh, now I like them, because when I would see them online, I'm like, it looks like an axanthic to me. Like, what's the big deal about them?
The color. Like if I pulled down an axanthic and a lavender right now and held it up in front of the screen, you couldn't see it, but you could see the difference in person. It's something about that tone. You cannot capture that on a camera at all. It's impossible. Right. So I do think seeing certain things in person makes a huge difference. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and vending shows, like say, like I'm vending with you guys or next door to you guys, however you want to say it. Like I feel a lot less anxiety because I get the EBGBs over like mites and Nido and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God,
lingering around.
Who's my neighbor? I don't know these people.
We've been set up where like there's been certain vendors like across the aisleway, and it's like, do I go make a permethrin border from here and just spray the border down? You want this like little protective bubble, and then you do have to worry about like people just coming up and like lingering over your stuff, and but it's still a lot of fun to go do shows.
One thing she not jokes about, she's a veterinarian, it's very serious, but mites are treatable. It's the other stuff, it's the viruses and things that you have
Nido and crypto are not treatable. Those are the ones that freak me out, and so there's certain things that you can get over, and there's certain things you just can't. And so it's we don't let anybody hold the hog noses at the shows. I mean, if we get that desperate, we usually make them wear gloves or something like that. And a lot of times they haven't necessarily handled a lot of other hog noses, but like Daytona, we really don't letting the hog noses out because there's tons of hog noses and clubrids all over that building. Where like someplace like Tinley, I don't think we got anybody out at Tinley, but there's not as many at some of the other shows. But that definitely makes me nervous.
People are cool with a no. If you say sorry, we're not letting anybody hold them. Like, okay.
Yeah, most of ours would latch on to somebody too. They're always hungry.
Cool. So, as you've progressed as a breeder, how would you say your project planning has changed?
So like my first year and two, I was like, I had goal animals like in the pairing. Like my first year, I wanted to hit a Batman, and I hit it. But it was like very short term thinking, I didn't have what am I going to do with the Batman or whatever.
Next step. Yeah.
Now, since I did pair for G-Stripe Clowns, like you have one of the girls from my very first season. So I was thinking along those lines too back then, but I've had the chance to actually make the visual G-Stripe Clowns, but I keep putting it off because I'm adding more stuff to it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 3, 4, 5 years down the road now, well, is it okay? I think this year I might actually pair for one for this year, but yeah, I've adjusted all my thinking to longer term, you know?
Yeah. We've done the same thing.
I think as breeders, as hobbyists, you go through that. You want the now, and then after you get the now, you're like, okay, what's next? Oh crap, I haven't thought that far.
It is a lot of short term in the beginning, like literally like this and this, we're going to make this and this is the thing. And then you don't think about anything else. And it's like, literally now we're like 3 generations out. We haven't even paired the pair and we're thinking about their great grandkids. I'm like, maybe we need to just get through step 1 first. But
I mean, you could go out there and just buy the components, but that's not as
the
fun.
same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
By parts of the component and then make it a little bit faster. That's a little bit better. But do you feel like any of your progression has been market influenced, or have you just not worried about what the market's doing?
Somewhat. Like up until 2 years ago, I was doing like pet breedings or whatever you would call them, you know, just like towards the pet market. So then it was. Yeah. But I've since ran out of room for those style of pairings. So no, I don't really pay attention to the market, and it changes so fast. Like 3 months from now, people will be buzzing around about some other gene, and it's like you can't keep chasing it. So I just kind of focus on what I like. I know what I like, and I just keep going.
I think that makes sense too, because I think, like you said, you get behind before you get anywhere if you start just seeing what everybody else is up to, and it's not worth it. I mean, I think our biggest thing that we've kind of readjusted to is what is our byproduct? You know, is our byproduct sellable? You know, we don't want to just make a bunch of stuff that, you know, we're not necessarily going to hold back all 8 out of a clutch. We may hold back 3 or 2 or whatever focus animals we need. But
that's a different strategy of ball pythons versus hognose. Hognose, you might get 30 eggs if she double clutches. But you got a better chance of hitting it.
Yeah, but then you still at the same time, the byproduct of a hognose is worst case and normal, and they're still going off the shelves. It's such a different world, and nobody wants a normal ball python. Very few.
No.
So I mean, you can't give them away. So we try to like make sure that now when we're pairing something, there's at least byproduct that somebody would want to use in their breeding program, and or maybe there's something like pretty about it, like there's banana in it or something, and some pet person would want that, you know. And so I think that changed. That's actually changed probably more in the last year, I guess, as far as that focus goes. So yeah. Hognose versus ball python focus is very different. You know, it's like there's short term, a lot of them more short term with the hognoses, but there's still long term plans with them. But the short terms are also very important for like production and stuff. So it's a whole different breeding program. Yeah,
and the hognose, to me, with the polygenics involved, it adds like a whole nother variable. Where you can really put your own stamp on some combos, because like if you're working reds or lemon gold, whatever you're choosing to work, like you can really make it your own thing, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think Tom had that down pat with his sunburst, you know, that family of animals. He had that red line albino blended in with a sable line that had red in it also, like a red sable. And so that's why his sunburst, solar flare, solar storm offspring are just dark orange. There's not a fade to them. They're screaming color. And so I think
that's going to pull one out and I'm like, oh yeah,
they're in the refrigerator.
They're in the cooler.
They're asleep. But we'll get pictures of some of those. You know, that's the best time to take a picture of a hognose is when they're in brumation anyway. But I do think focusing on those kind of things. Like I know, like what I've seen you gathering for your hognose collection is your red line, extreme red line albino with the Arctic. And I think that's the way to make an Arctic albino look really awesome, almost like a candy cane, because you've got that deep, deep red that saturates so that Arctic can't wash it out. And I think that white background is just so contrasty. Well, it looks like your shirt, you know. and
something else I learned from the leopard gecko world too is like you can only you need to incorporate outcrosses along the way with your line breeding too. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna get some Phoenix Reds from the UK.
Yes.
All right, they're definitely not related to this stuff over here, and that'll still be pumping into the Reds, you know. So
yeah, the outcrossing is so much more important in the hognose, and like we realized after we bred our Xotics for a few years, I was like, crap, we've held back some of these Xotics. We can't breed these together because it's all coming from the same family. So I was like, we need to sell some of these and then buy other Xotic families so that we can blend it and not turn into like little like three-eyed freaks or something, you know, whatever comes out of these like inbred things. And so that it's a different type of holdback versus a ball python clutch where you do like your combos and you hold back the whole clutch and you just smear them together and you smear those babies together and you smear those back to the parent. You can't do that in hognose. I mean, you can, but it doesn't turn out so well.
The downside of inbreeding hognose is they get pretty darn cute when they're inbred. They get bug-eyed. They look like a pug.
It's not very good looking overall, though.
If we could get them to snort instead of hiss, that would be great, you know?
We have the pug people sucked up. Pug and Frenchy people would just love that.
You know how loud this room would be?
Oh, God, I couldn't handle all that snorting and carrying on. It'd be too much for me. Can you share some projects with us, some of your project animals and some of the things you're doing?
So, like, my main background stuff that I alluded to earlier that I have not paired for visuals yet is G-stripe clowns, but I've been adding hypo and DG along the way. So, like, I don't have a visual for any of that, but I do have some short-term pairings. So I kind of lied earlier. I didn't, but so there is some short-term. So I play around with some other genes, and this is something that caught my eye early on, and so I'm taking it from the beginning. So this is a shrapnel clown.
Very cool. Yes.
And this is just the single form. So it's just shrapnel, just clown. And it's, God, man, here I am. All right. And it's pissing off.
You're that person, Shane. You're that person.
Yeah, I'm that person. But it is a busy granite type gene.
Very busy. Yeah. It's real dark too.
Yeah. So... and it does like a lot of checkering along the belly and stuff. It's really cool. So that's something I'm playing with that, like these are like right now type pairings. So
yeah, definitely.
And then, so my calico.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is as far as I've gotten with it. This is spot nose yellow belly calico.
Very
and
cool.
then I've made videos about it. It acts like calico and sugar, but I don't know. Mine, whatever I got, really reacts good with any of the yellow belly complex.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot more intensity there. And there's a lot of orange in that.
I have seen pictures of the yellow belly Cosmos clown that looks eerily similar to this. So I'm just saying that you could get, similar results with other genes. So
yes, very cool though. That's
unfortunately, this one was a female. I wanted this in a male, but whatever.
Well, that's usually how it goes, isn't it? They kind of
the more you want it, the harder it is to get.
Yeah.
So those type of genes, like some incomplete dominance and stuff, I do pair like some off the beaten path ones. So like both of those, I'm just like taking it one step at a time. Like I want to see it in the base form, add a yellow belly or a gravel or something, and just like keep stepping it up. That way I'm like later on when I have it in like 5 genes, I want to be able to like spot it,
And your goal with your calico is eventually to get it in, I guess, to your, what that pattern change does. Cause I think that would be pretty sweet on any kind of like G-stripe clown combo, especially with your hypo DG stuff and things like that. That's pretty cool. And your hog noses, like I mentioned before, you're one of the few, you are the competitor that has 2 species that you're focused on more right now. So it's like, it's kind of unique that you have 2 species that you're doing well with. And so I think being able to do compare and contrast with that is important to us too. So,
I'm fortunate because like my ball python breeding season, like all my hatchlings are ready for like a March Tinley where everyone else is slow. So like my 2 species like fill the voids for each other. So like when I'm slow in ball pythons, that's when I'm busy in hognose, and then vice versa. So I just
Wow.
keep going all year long like that. Works out.
Well, we're a little worried because Tom's ball pythons hit in the summer, and that's when our hognose were hitting. And I think that's why we were a little bit. There were multiple reasons we were a little crazy this summer, but it's going to happen again because that's just the cycle his females are on. So it's like we're kind of like, holy cow, how are we going to do this? But we'll figure it out, I guess. But that's going to be we've
made it this far. I think we're going
to be heavy summer producers. But think between the two species, well, heck, the three species. I don't ever mention the corns, but we got corn snakes too. So I mean,
ultimately someday when this facility is built, we want to have 2 hognose rooms so we can have different light cycles and just have them staggered. So some of them think it's summertime, and the other ones think it's wintertime.
Yeah, and split it out a little bit, kind of take the strain off. It probably won't be that like half and half, but even if it was like 20% in the off season and then the rest in like the normal season, it would take a little strain off of us. But I think we're going to be able to adjust the ball pythons. They seem to be in the saw at this point, so we'll just kind of because that's when ours all went too. So
that's what's cool about hognose, because like you can brumate them and kind of like push them into the season where you want them, where like the ball pythons get their rhythm, and then they're just like they might skip a year, but they're still in like a rhythm, you know.
They're in their cycle for sure. So
do you think when you moved to Tennessee the transfer may have synchronized all your ball pythons?
Yes, because that's when it happened. And then like all of a sudden that year that I moved them, they like more bred than I anticipated. They all kicked into breeding mode, and it all grouped up. So like it's laying over the winter and hatching. Like I'm hatching during the no ship time and stuff. That's this year almost. This year though, a lot of my females are skipping. So I'm only going to have 5 ball python clutches this year.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I had more than that my very first season. That's
kind of crazy though, because I mean, they do skip every once in a while, but and I think we've had like 2 skip, or they're already past the point that I think they should have been. But I guess they're going to go on that 18-month, 2-year process, which is fine. So we need a break, but that's pretty cool. So
our collection was kind of inverted from Dad's collection. Like he hit heavy on ball pythons, and we hit low on ball pythons. But we hit heavy on hogs, and he hit low on hogs. So if we would have both hit heavy on everything, his collection and ours, we'd be in trouble.
We'd be overwhelmed right now, more than we already are. Well, any questions for us about what we're up to or anything like that?
So once you guys get the facility built, are you still planning on like how many shows do you guys vend a year? Let me start with that.
I think this last year we did 10.
10, yeah.
And next year we're on the docket for 15.
Wow.
So
that's probably pushing it.
That's probably maxing out. I don't think we'll always do that many. It's just that seems to be like where we are kind of in our process right now.
There's some of the big anchor shows that Dad liked to do, and we're wanting to try to maintain his circuit and keep his name out there. And then there's shows that we want to promote ourselves at that are closer to home.
Yeah.
And we want to keep some of them going. So,
yeah. And for anyone that's listening, that's in the audience, like they've been like, what's your smallest tables now since you incorporated Tom Harbin reptiles? It's like, I see you guys with 4.
Yeah. The smallest is Tinley because we only have 2.
Yeah. We can fill 4 pretty easy.
We can fill 4. And Tinley, we had to basically consolidate everything down. We didn't bring everything because we didn't have spot for it.
Yeah.
And we made kind of like a makeshift table off to the side for Ben's geckos. They were kind of off in the weird table section. But yeah, we're filling 4 right now. So
once you get the facility built, do you plan on trying to focus on getting more online sales and backing off on shows and just like having like your cream of the crop shows be your main deal?
I think that would be ideal.
Ideally. I love going to the shows and just meeting people in person, going out to eat afterwards, and for one, just seeing the animals firsthand. But then that's grueling, depending on how far away the show is. Like the Dallas trip, that's a long weekend. That's every bit of a 4-day weekend for us.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's always the risk of a show. You drive down there, you pay for the tables, you pay for a hotel, you got all that fuel, food, and you may not sell much.
You don't sell anything.
Or you're going to go down there and hit like gangbusters. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas, we won't drop Dallas for right now. the last two Dallas, well, the only Dallases that have existed, we've gone to both those, and we've done well. And so it's hard for us not to go do those. And that would probably, as much as we'd hate to drop it, that'd be the first one we would drop.
Just because of distance alone.
Just because how far it is, especially with, the ARPE, Charlotte, hopefully the Nashville, then the Southeast, in Atlanta. Those are no-brainers. I mean, those are an afternoon drive for us, less than that. Tinley will be on our docket, mainly because Tom has been a mainstay there for many years. And we're not going to let that presence go away, especially with his collection of ball pythons that we're going to keep going. And then we want to have a hognose presence there. And I think if that one and Daytona are our longest drives, we can do that. It's not that big a deal.
We may pick one super excursion show per year, the 12-hour or 16-hour drive, just to, I don't know, go somewhere new, because we kind of treat it like a little mini vacation.
Yeah.
We are working, but just to go see a new place is kind of neat. We'd love to get up somewhere in New England, maybe do some of the Pennsylvania shows.
Yeah, we even talked about Gettysburg, at some point. But I'm like, that would be right now in the middle of this. I'm like, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah. We say that, but we're actually do it.
It's like, it'd be nice. It's kind of nice to have a little break right now. But we've got Slidell, Louisiana coming up in December. And we've done that with Tom before. But that's we drive down to Montgomery, which we do that all the time now. And then we stay the night. We feed some animals because that's what we're going to have to do. And then we drive on down to Slidell. So it's not.
Man, the food down there is so good. It's worth it for the New Orleans food.
Yeah. It's delicious. Plus you're in December, you're catching geckos. I mean, not herping in the middle of December. Yeah. So it's it's freaking awesome. And so I think I like that kind of aspect of it. But we'll see how those shows go. And I'm sure there'll be some dropped, because there's no way we're going to be able to maintain a facility and online presence and do a bajillion shows a year. We're definitely not going to make more than what we're already doing at this point. So
we've hired somebody to come in and work weekends, and she's a rock star. Kayla crushes it. And she's showing an interest in breeding, what it is keeping these snakes. So right now she just helps us clean. Yeah. But I think she could be a game changer for us down the road. So that would help us expand, knowing that if we had to go away for the weekend, if she could be nearby and monitor the collection for us, that'd be a good peace of mind. Yeah. That would free us up to go on some trips.
Yeah, for sure. It's always for me, it's the anxiety of leaving animals away while I'm away. And then there's always the balance of work life. And then when you go for a weekend, it's it puts you behind a week on snake work. So then you're behind the 8 ball the whole time. So
it is a schedule catch up.
I think we've kind of been opposites, because you guys vend a ton, where I very rarely vend, and then now I'm trying to vend more. We're
going to eventually. We'll find that happy. We'll be probably at the same shows, and then
wherever that balance is, whether it's 6 shows a year in social media, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Well, right now the shows make sense. Most of the shows we go to, we do well. Mm-hmm. We come home, we're in the black. If we start hitting shows where we come home in the red, back to back to back, we're going to have to reconsider.
Yeah, we'll have to drop that. It won't be worth it. And then that may end up being that hognose carry us at the shows, which they kind of have. And the ball pythons will be getting further and further away from pet level over time. And so some of those smaller shows won't make sense for the ball pythons, and the bigger shows like Tinley will make sense for the higher end ball pythons. And so it's almost kind of you have to know which show you're going to. Daytona, without a doubt, we're going to take every hognose that we have ready, because that is just hognose central.
Right.
What ball pythons are we going to take? Maybe some pet stuff. I mean, it's just not the same level. And then Tinley, we'll take all the hognose too.
Yeah.
But maybe leave a few of the normals at home.
I want to figure out how to get double decker tables at Tinley, have 2 levels. We buy the floor space, we just go up, and it'll have a mezzanine.
Little stairs they go up, and they do the second story, and then they come back down.
Some kind of rotation system. Where
that'd be cool.
That would be awesome, actually.
I know a local guy that can probably engineer something.
I've been to some trade shows this past couple of years, seeing that the vendors that have the upstairs, that's where they do all the business. They're hey, we got a deal on this machine. If you want to, here's some food and drink.
You're going to have double decker show setups now, huh? Why not? Why not?
It'd be the place to be. Actually, and I know a guy who makes like stage lighting and stage frames. Like he could hook us up with a mezzanine. I think that would be like, don't even tell anybody. Just show up one day, set up a frame, like boom, we got a kit.
Yeah, I'm sure the promoters would love to see people up on stairs in the middle of like a hallway.
That's what gets new rules written. It's like you got
Exactly.
what's my footprint? You got a 10 by 20 footprint. You bring in some 5-story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna put walls like nothing over 10 feet tall or anything after that point. Because of Josh. Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd wear that badge.
Yeah.
You were the guy, huh? Yeah. They got a rule written after me. But anyway.
I got another question. I got another question for you guys. I think I know the answer, but do you guys treat this as like a lifelong, whether it's a hobby, a business, however you want to word what Herp and Harbins is and Tom Harbin Reptiles? Is this like something you guys will be doing like till the end of days?
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna do it until we die. I mean, I think we felt like that for a couple of years. Like we found this thing that we both loved. And although like at the beginning of the year, we were really talking more like hobby that happened to support itself hobby. And then it changed, and it changed kind of abruptly, even though in the back of our mind, we had planned on like kind of gradually pushing into a business level where maybe we would eventually replace my income, or at least enough of my income that we could justify it. It's been propelled faster, but I think now we're at a good mindset that we're good with that. And so we anticipate this, and literally until we can't physically do it anymore, whatever that time is. So
we just saw
that's what I figured. That's what I figured. I know how heavily you guys are invested, especially in the hog nose side and everything too. And then with the legacy side of it getting added in there, I'm like, these are lifers right here. So
yeah, I definitely feel like we're lifers. I think it's even more than just the financial investment. Like in the last few years, I've got friends and he's got friends that will always be friends with those people forever. But we made some friendships that I don't think we ever would have thought we would have had in the reptile community. Something, I don't know what that stigma is coming in, but now I'm like, there's these people in the community now that I can't imagine them not being in our lives forever. And so I think it's making those lifelong friends like that too, that definitely has kept me wanting to keep going for as long as I can. So
yeah, Dad even asked us a few years back, he's like, if something happened to me, do y'all want to do this? Do y'all want to keep going? And we're like, yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
It's like the spark was lit. We, like I said, we started off with a few, got the rack, and then it just grew. And when it was growing rapidly, we're like, this is fun. We enjoy this.
Yeah.
We love it. And it's been a lot in the last few months, but I think we're now in a comfort zone that we know this is it. This is what we're doing without a doubt. And I think Tom would be happy,
Oh yeah.
that we're just plowing right. We're plowing right over the obstacles that we've been put up in front of us. So
man, you guys like you guys grind because you're managing 2 collections in 2 separate states and driving back and forth and stuff. Like, I don't know if everyone realizes that, but that's like some serious shit. Excuse my language. That's serious shit, man.
It's a lot. It's tiring, but we've learned to use those 5.5 hours each direction in the vehicle as like time to like.
It's our business hours.
It's our business hours. We talk
we're
about stuff and
we're recording stuff, writing things down as best you can, because like parts of Alabama don't even have running water, so you don't even get signal. Work on your phone, but it's like
one of the best examples is we were coming back. It was like 2 weeks before Daytona, and Josh knew that I was just this was still like fresh. Tom was just passed, and Daytona's coming up. We've got all these freaking animals, and we've got to get it all together for both collections. And I was like, Josh, I haven't even gone through and made price lists yet. Like I always go through before Daytona because that's our first show. And I kind of go through Morph Market and see where the numbers are falling. And that just helps guide me into it. And he sat over there in the passenger seat. I drove all the way. And I said, okay, now look up, because I knew all the pairings. I knew what the babies were. I said, okay, look up how much this is running. Male, female, add conda, add super conda. And he made a whole big old chart. And I said, babe, that 4 hours, I would have been doing that Tuesday morning by myself, pulling all my hair out when I should have been feeding snakes. I said, this is how we're doing it. We're doing it together. And that, like at that moment, I knew that we could pull it together because he could help me with stuff like that. And that was a huge moment for us.
We thrive in the fire. I don't know why. If I've told something's due in 6 months, I don't really procrastinate, but I don't get excited about it till about 2 weeks out. And then it's go time, like fully into it. So I really think this event where you lost Dad this year, I don't think we would have been as serious about it if that hadn't happened. I think and we would have tried to ease into it, but that event forced us to get serious.
And really analyze, do we want to do this? And I'm like, if we still want to do this bad after losing him, we want to do this. And so it's like, I think us coming to that realization, it just made us fire up even more. Like, okay, we're not going to just do this for us. We're doing this for the family now. And so it definitely motivated us. And I think it's pretty cool that we're both on board with it, because you never know. Like, he could have said, "I hell with this. I don't want to do anything with this because I lost my dad and I just don't want to deal with it." Or I could have said, "I'm tired. I can't deal with this." Like that kind of thing.
I could have seen the family do it. That first month after losing Dad, we were all in a dark place. We just didn't know what to do. So we we're just going through the motions. But as we came out on the other side, everybody's really at peace with it now. Mom's excited. She's helping us build this building. We've got a lot of people behind us that are supporting us through this change. And we've got a lot. She's got good friends and family down there. We've got good friends and family up here. So we aren't doing it just by ourselves. We stand on the shoulders of some giants.
Yeah, they're helping a lot. Everybody's helping a lot. Thank God.
Yeah, and I think you guys are killing it, man. Like I said, I know how much you guys do that a lot of people might not realize and everything. So my hat's off to you guys. Seriously.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And then now you're doing social media stuff. So I mean,
we're in it. We're learning it. We're doing it. It's happening.
We were doing an interview earlier today, and like she just booted the guest right off of there because
it's a button. I hit the damn button wrong. I mean, we all know I'm not good with computers, but he's very patient with us. And then Josh took the button away from me. Step away. Get away from the buttons. That's all right. Well, cool, man. Thanks for being here with us. This is awesome. And
my pleasure.
We look forward to kind of pushing through this contest and seeing what we can do with it. I think we're already learning a lot. So, and being able to get marketing ideas from everybody has been super helpful too.
It has. That's why we're excited to repost these interviews, because every one of them's just got gold all through it. So
everybody has a different perspective.
That's the key to social media, is collaborating with everyone, and like you're sharing everyone's platform, and it just like keeps branching out and branching out and branching out.
It's amazing how it does kind of spread like that. It's been cool to watch that too, and understand it better. That's the biggest thing, is just trying to understand it, because you're more likely to do it if you kind of understand it. So we're enjoying it.
Yeah. It's good. And I get to buy cool gadgets. We got to buy some more cameras, some gimbals, lighting.
It just never ends, does it?
Well, we did really good at that show, but we dropped it all on camera gear. But
we just spent it all on this thing over here. That's all right. That'd be all right. That'd be all right. Well, thank you so much, man. Hang out for a second. We're going to throw you backstage. Let's see, I'm going to try to.
Yep, there you go.
All right. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it. Hope you can vote for us. I hope you want to vote for us on the 15 Minutes of Lame this year.
Definitely. Please vote for us.
See you soon.